Good morning. This is Miss Bernadette from Matthew's Mindful Moment. And today, first, I'd like to wish you all a happy and healthy 2022. I hope it's a great year for you and your families. So, today, I think we're going to talk about something that people look at sometimes when a new year begins. Sometimes we look at how we do things and we want to switch them up. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about how we eat, and then we'll talk a little bit about mindful eating. So before we have our conversation, let's do some mindful breathing together. Get into your mindful position, whatever that is for you. Maybe your back is straighter. Maybe your feet are flat on the ground. And your hands are resting comfortably. And take a deep breath in and out. And taking a second deep breath in, breathing out, maybe letting your eyes close if you're comfortable with that. So with your eyes closed, just focus on your breath. Feeling the air as it comes in through your nose and out. Breathing in again and release. Breathing in and filling your belly with air and letting it out. Just come back to your breath for the next few seconds. And before we end this breathing practice, notice how you're feeling in your emotional body. When you have that feeling and you can name it, let your eyes gently open. You probably had a lot of different feelings, but I wanted to tell you that I'm feeling a little bit excited about what we're going to talk about today. I found this great book, first of all, that I wanted to introduce you to, and it's called Master of Mindfulness: How to Be Your Own Superhero in Times of Stress. And one reason I like it is it was written by some fifth graders. They got really interested in mindfulness when their teacher taught them about it. And what they did was put together some different stories about mindfulness in their own lives, and they wrote it down so that they could tell their friends about mindfulness and their families. And they even have a page on mindful eating, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Here's the mindful eating page. So sometimes in the new year, we want to mix things up a little bit, and maybe you want to think about how you're eating and what you're eating and why you're eating it. So you might go to your kitchen or wherever you store some snacks, and maybe you want to bring it back to where we're meeting together. Some things that sometimes people choose to practice mindful eating with are something like these: cranberries or raisins. You could choose a piece of fruit like a clementine, or maybe a piece of chocolate. And in this new book, there's a page here about mindful eating, and I'm just going to share a little bit of it with you. What do you eat every day? Do you remember what you even ate last night? Do you remember what it tasted like? Sometimes when we're eating, we're barely paying attention. We might be kicking someone under the table while we're eating. Maybe we're on our phones while we're eating. Sometimes we're trying to talk to somebody and our mouths are full and we're just not paying attention to what it is that we're trying to eat. So you know from practicing mindfulness that we try to use our senses when we do any kind of mindfulness activity, and especially if we're thinking about doing a mindful eating activity. So let's take this clementine, and what do you see when you look at it? You see the color orange. You see this little green spot at the top. You can see that it's round. And what is it that you can hear? Well, I can't really hear this clementine, but I can touch it and peel it. And I can feel my thumb going in and removing the skin. And I can notice on the clementine there's this white part, that's the rind. So I notice that. I'm feeling that it's a little sticky, and I'm feeling the skin being removed from the fruit inside. And I can hear the skin as it tears away from the fruit. And I can also hear, if I squeeze a little bit of the clementine, I can hear that squirt of juice that sometimes comes out when you have some kind of fruit. So when I touch it, the skin was a little bit rough. I'm going to show you a section, and you can see that it's pretty smooth if I'm touching this. The rind is a little bit sticky and attached to the fruit. So there's the rind. And if you smell a clementine, you know that delicious citrus smell that you can smell when you do peel a piece of fruit. So here's your section of clementine. So we're going to taste it. And first you want to just let it sit in your mouth for a little bit and feel your tongue on that piece of fruit when it's in your mouth and see what happens. I'm going to chew it a little bit. I can feel the juice. And I feel it's getting smaller because I've swallowed some of the juice. Now I'm going to swallow the whole piece of fruit. And I can taste that it's a little bit sweet. And I can also taste in my mouth like there's still a little bit of juice. So that's a little bit about how you eat mindfully. You're supposed to chew a mouthful of food, believe it or not, between 10 and 20 times. That can help us with digestion. So the next time you have a snack or you sit down at the table, see if you can see what you're tasting, hear it, touch it, smell it, and enjoy it. The most important thing is also to be grateful for having that particular piece of fruit or whatever food you're able to enjoy. So let's practice for 30 seconds just being grateful for what it is we're able to have. So maybe you'll share this conversation about mindful eating with your friends, and maybe it will help you to tweak what you're eating this year. Thank you for joining me.